Hi, so this week I've got myself some eXtremeRate PS5 Hall effect sticks. So they do two different versions which have got different resistance levels. They do an 80 version and 120. So the 80 has a lower resistance, so should give you lighter, more sensitive movement. The 120 has got more resistance, so it will feel like more of a standard controller. So the contents in both of them is the same, just the colours on the actual sticks are different, and this will differentiate what the different models we do. So I'm going to start getting everything out and then we'll go through the full guide on how to install them. So the ones with the purple stick have the 120 gauge factor sticks, and the ones with the light blue have the 80 gauge factor sticks. So as you can see, they just look like the standard stick that you'll get in a PlayStation 5, but being Hall effect, they're less likely to get any kind of wear on them, so you shouldn't get any kind of stick drift. Like with all Hall effect kits, they come with all the utensils you need. So replacement screws, screwdriver, lipper, etc. So I'm going to start taking this one controller apart. So I've got two controllers to mod. I'm going to start with my own to begin with. So we just need to remove the black cover. So you get the lipper on the edges. And then along the top, you just clip off the top two shoulder buttons. Get your lipper underneath and push up. And these easily move away. Then you've got two screws in the top behind these buttons. And then two screws at the bottom. I've also got a 10% discount code in the description for the eXtremeRate website. Then just get your lipper underneath one of these clips and then just gently prise it apart. You just want to be careful you don't go too rough, you don't be breaking any clips. So you just separate it and then the back cover peels off, nothing attached, so nice and easy. Disconnect your battery and then you've got a screw that keeps it all together. There's also a ribbon cable here that we need to disconnect, and then we can remove the battery holder, pull off the side ribbons. There's another ribbon cable at the bottom that we just need to carefully remove, and then we got this ribbon cable at the top. They all just slide out. Then there's a couple of clips on the side keeping the motherboard in place. Just push them to either side and then the motherboard will come out. So this is what we're going to have to do our work on. Just remove the speaker, pop that back in there. So we need to get a soldering iron and remove the two wires that are holding onto the side. So you may have more wires depending on the controller you're using. Just remember where the wires go. Now remove our caps. So these just easily lift off. And then what we need to do is melt all of this solder to remove the old sticks. So it also comes with capped on tape, which is really good. So you literally get the full kit here. It comes with several pieces that you need. You need to be wrapping all the plastic parts as best as you can. So as you can see, I'm wrapping this side part here first. And then we've got the connection at the bottom, which needs wrapping as well. If you've got extra capped on tape, I'd just throw it on if I was you. You can never have too much. The last thing you want to do is melt any of the plastic, which makes it into a bigger, harder job. Now I've put it into place, so I've got my multi-grip to hold it, and now I'm just going to run round with a little bit of flux on all of the pins. And then I'm going to apply a little bit more solder, so this will freshen up the solder, which will hopefully make it easier for when you're applying the heat. It's not old solder from the factory. I also find the best way to do it as well is just to clip off these side parts as well. This means you can move it easily. So you can just warm up these three pins to begin with, and then this will remove one of the old potentiometers. Just gently wiggle it out, don't be pulling it. Once the solder melts, it'll easily come out. Then you've got another three on the side, so this means you're removing a lot less of the solder in all in one go. And then we just need to aim on the anchor points for the whole stick itself. So just keep moving it round. Make sure you're getting all the solder points. Again, I'm holding it with a pair of pliers underneath and giving it a little wiggle. Never pull on it, just give it a gentle wiggle, and once the solder begins to melt, it will start to come out. And then we get it and it moves away. While the board's still warm, I come with my soldering iron and a large tip and solder wick, and then we just need to remove all of the old solder. The benefit of doing this is the new stick will fit in nice and easy, so just keep going along. It helps if you cut the solder wick into smaller parts, which I'm not doing. This helps to stop the spread of the heat. You could also use a solder sucker as well if you require. I didn't need to. Now as you can see, all of the holes are nice and clean, so that will mean the new port will be able to stick in perfectly. So we can remove the little bit of capped on tape from this area, and then I'm going to come in with some isopropyl and give it a thorough clean. We need to remove all the excess flux as we don't want the board staying sticky. Now we can move on to the other side, so same again, just bend these potentiometers out so we can remove these first. Apply your capped on tape again around all the plastic edging, get it into place, flux it up again, come in with your soldering iron to apply fresh solder to all the solder points that you're going to require to melt, and then come with your hot air. I tend to try and do around about 360, 380. I've used a fine nozzle as well so I can pinpoint the air. I don't want too much hot air being spread around as I don't want to risk any of the plastic melting. So just keep moving it around the board, and then eventually the old joystick will come out, and then same again, come in with a big soldering tip, plenty of flux and plenty of solder wick, and remove all of the old excess solder. Give it a thorough clean, get rid of all the old flux, any of the stickiness, so we're ready to go. So we flip the board over, so we need to put these stickers down first. So they just go in this location, so just looking where I'm putting them, so they're nice and central. This is to keep the caps in place, so just peel the top off, so we've got the stickiness there. And then we've got this ribbon cable. This is what's going to help us fine tune the sticks later on, so they are 100% perfect. So remove this double-sided tape, and then you need to line it up as I'm showing here. So just stick it around the button in the middle, and the two lights need to be exactly next to the light on the board. So all three LEDs need to line up as they are. Then you need to line up these holes, and then get your new stick and then feed it through. If it doesn't go through, it's obviously getting stuck on one of the ribbon cables. So just be careful, you don't want to damage the ribbon cable. And then the same on this side. Line up the holes, line up the new stick, and then when you push it down, the double-sided tape you've stuck on will help to keep it in place. So they're nice and flush and flat as you want. So we just flip the board over, we'll apply some flux, and then it's recommended that you solder these holes to begin with. So don't go all in, just do these corner ones. This way we can do some checks to make sure everything's fine before we've soldered everything in, otherwise it's a lot harder to remove it. Now it's recommended to put the board back in, so put your caps back on, put it back into place, and make sure that the caps move all okay. If you've got any kind of resistance, it means they're not fitted flushly to the board and you'll need to make adjustments. Mine are all okay, so get it back out, and now I can apply solder to all the remaining pins that have come through the board. So we'll do them all on that side, give it a good clean, and then same on the other side, apply your flux, come in with your solder, and then give it a good clean. Now every pin that's come through has been soldered to. Then we flip this board over, just use a little bit of tape to hold it into place. You could use some capped on tape if you want to. I've just got some masking tape, and then you just need to solder to these points. There's a couple on there that we need to go through, so just be applying your flux, just be applying your solder. I find you may need to use tweezers to hold the ribbon cable down, as it does tend to try and lift up. You want to make sure that this flex cable stays flush to the board, but it stays completely soldered to the pins that we're attaching it to. And as you can see, they're all nicely soldered, they all look nice and flush. So we've done a good job there. And then you may notice there was a couple of pins which have been bent on the actual potentiometers themselves. So there's a solder point that we need to solder to on the top. So just come with a little bit of flux, a little bit of solder. You just need to be a little bit careful here, as you don't want to be melting the potentiometer itself. You don't want to be causing any damage to it. So just come in at an angle and very carefully solder the point to the flex board. And as you can see, we've got good solder joints on that side and good solder joints on that one too. Now you need to have a look at this picture and check which board you've got, as there is a wire that we need to solder to. So this is the one on mine, so we just need to add a little bit of solder to the flex here. And then we solder the wire that it comes with. And then we fold it round the back. Just make sure you route it nice and perfect. You could cut it if you wanted to, I was being lazy, and then you solder it to the pin that was highlighted on the previous picture that I've just shown. So just make sure you check your right board to know where you're soldering to. Then tuck this wire out to the way, you don't want it getting in the way when you're reassembling. Now we're going back to the assembly. So the caps go on, just push them right down. And then you just need to replace the motherboard back into place. So as you put in, just remove all the ribbon cables from getting trapped. So there is several, there's ones on the side, there's ones on the bottom, there's ones on the top. So get them all into place, click the motherboard in. When it's there, pop in all your ribbon cables. Slide the top one in. Using chunkier tweezers sometimes helps, so at times it's your fingers. And now you can resolder your vibration wires onto the side. So sorry for the blurriness, it wanted to focus on my hand rather than the actual board itself. So make sure you're soldering them into the right place. Then the battery holder goes back into place. The one screw goes in. Reconnect this speaker, I think it is, or camera or something on the back. Reconnect the battery. Pop that into place, and then we're almost there. So find with the back cover, it's easiest to hook it over the top, get the top lined up, and then once that's lined up, you can click around the sides and the bottom, and it all goes into place. And then you've got your 4 screws to go back in, 2 in the bottom, 2 in the top. Your shoulder buttons, you just line them up and push them down, and then that's it, they're in. And then final piece of the puzzle, put this fascia into place, hook it into the top where the 2 points are, and then just follow it round and clip it all into place, and then we're done. All nice and smooth, nothing sticking out of place, everything's back as it should be. So there is a lot of disassembly, there is a lot of unsoldering and soldering that you need to do, so it is a bit of an intense job, but it is worthwhile overall, as you are going to get very accurate Hall effect sticks which are not going to drift like the standard ones that it comes with. Due to the length of the video, I am going to have to do a second video on to show you how to calibrate, as this is a little bit more in depth, but once you get your head around it, it is pretty simple to do. And then as you can see here, I've quickly calibrated and I've got very accurate, very within range control sticks. You can fine tune them even further if you care, which I will show you how to do. All the links are in the description. There's a 10% discount code for the eXtremeRate website, which I'll also link in the description. Any questions, please leave them in the comments. Thanks very much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe.